You have created and run your starter project, and you have created a to-do list of items needed to make TimeFighter a reality. So let's start working through the to-do list. The first two items in the list are these. You want to add a Tap Me button to the screen. You also want to put game info on the screen, such as what the current score is and if there's any time left. Both of these items are to add UI elements to TimeFighter, and that is always a good place to start. The UI, or user interface, is the first thing the user sees and the portion of the game that the user directly interacts with. The other stuff, like the game logic, is all behind the scenes. A well thought out and intuitive UI goes a long way to making a successful app. If the user doesn't understand how your app works, or if it's not clear what a specific button or control does, your users might not like using it. So getting the UI right is essential. Thankfully, Android Studio gives you the necessary tools to build a good UI. All the activity main XML file contains the UI for your main activity. We'll discuss more about activities later on, but for the time being, let's concentrate on just the UI part. Everything that you saw when you ran the TimeFighter app earlier is in this layout. Incidentally, layout is a technical term for these files containing an Android app, and the file extension is XML, which indicates that this is an XML file or an extended markup language file. If you aren't familiar with XML, that's fine. It's just a markup format similar to HTML, which is used to display web pages. Now, since XML is a text-based markup language, you can edit these layouts as text if you wanted, or you can use the visual editor to manage your layouts. You can write your layouts in XML as well. Let's take a look.
With your project open, drill down to App, Res, and then Layout, then double-click ActivityMain.xml. Here you can see our current layout. To see the raw XML, tap the Text tab on the bottom left of the visual editor to be taken to the text editor. The XML features a TextView, which is a control that we add text. There's attributes called text, which say Hello World. Change it to read Hello Moon, and switch back to the design. You'll see that the text is updated for you. We'll be using the visual editor to build our layouts. It's just easier to create a UI visually most of the time than it is to do the same thing via code. Okay, let's get to work building out our layout. Although our to-do list says to add a button first, we'll start with a label since it's simpler. In Android terminology, a label is actually a text view since it, well, displays text. You already have one text view on the layout, as you've noticed, and that one now says Hello Moon. Let's add another one so you can see how it's done. We add controls by way of the palette. The palette contains all the controls available to the user to place on a layout. The category list on the left organizes the controls. For example, selecting the text category lists all the text controls. Beneath the palette is the component tree. The component tree is a representation of the controls of the layout. The component tree is an easy way to select a particular control on the layout when you have lots of controls in play. Oftentimes, you'll want to look for a specific control, and thankfully the search feature can help. In the search feature, type text and you'll see all the text controls available to you. For now, we want to add a label, so select the text category in the palette and then select Text View from the control list. Drag the text view to the top left corner of the layout and then release. The alignment controls appear as you drag the text view close to the top left edge. So just follow the layout guides and then release the mouse button. You'll notice that the text view appears in the component tree now. If we select the Text tab, you can see new XML was added to reflect our new control. Switch back to the Design tab and run your app. Now we are up and running with not just one, but two text views.